Chapter 9. Kratos and I went outside before anyone else. The weather was sad and gloomy, and it was evening already. After Kratos left to rest in the orange tree chamber, I wandered around the village center for some time, but I was not comfortable out in the open. The rain had left big puddles behind, and there was no place to sit. I was about to head home when Amy came and asked for help. I was more than happy to. We walked toward the glowing moon tree. It looked even more impressive in the dark, and the raindrops hanging on its leaves and flowers gave it a surreal look. Amy invited me in, and I looked around. The chamber walls were lined by the usual backless shelves with moonlight vials. I glanced up at the ceiling and saw a wide opening in the roof. The heavily entwined branches shied away from each other to make the circular opening right in the middle, above the bulb. Another look at the bulb startled me. The light inside was fading. Amy understood the look on my face and said, "It has been raining a lot. On cloudy days, the trees cannot generate enough light to store in the bulb. We used the light to heal Kratos and for the mirror's test. The moon tree needs more light. It is dangerous for the tree to run out of its light. We need to pour the light from the vials on the shelf onto the bulb, careful not to spill any. We cannot afford to waste any amount." Cautiously, we brought the vials to the bulb one after the other and poured them onto the top, middle part connected to the branches. The fruit absorbed the light and stored it inside, slowly filling the bulb. As we did this, Amy surprised me with a new revelation. The 7 trees around the white tree provided their beneficial healing effect when the moon tree had moonlight in its fruit. If the moon tree ran out, the others stole the light from all living things nearby and refilled the bulb in the mother tree. Without the moonlight, the trees would destroy instead of heal. Amy didn't know how long the clouds would continue to darken the sky. And then there was the upcoming battle to think of. She was worried that the trees could turn against us if the moonlight ran out. She pointed toward the shelves. "These shelves were glowing with moonlight yesterday. Now they are empty, deserted. Faray used most of it for her ambition. Moonlight is difficult to collect, and it is vital for the Seren. Yet she wasted it so callously. She didn't care for her people. Alev is right. She doesn't deserve our kindness." I was sad for Amy. She deserved loyalty, yet she received indifference and cruelty from her mentor. I didn't try to console her. I understood that nothing could comfort her at the time. The Guardian stayed outside the trees as we walked out toward our homes. On our way, I asked Amy about the place we were going to in the morning. Amy reminded me of its name, Ser. Then she added, "It is a cursed place, a ruin, a place that has seen the battle between Conrad and Esmeralda and was destroyed by it." Why do the elders want to go there? Ser sounded dangerous and scary. "It is cursed, but it is where Conrad recorded his memories. If there is any hope of finding any answers, we will find them there," Amy explained. Amy left on a different path for her home, and I continued on to my own. The rain started again. The rain was gentle but loud. The waterfalls ran aggressively, and the nearby forest was full of the sounds of the night. Outside my home, I noticed footprints in the mud. There was someone there. I walked the boardwalk slowly to not create a sound and went over the fence to the backyard. I reached the back window as silently as I could and peeked inside. I saw a figure sitting on a chair, looking toward a lit fireplace inside the house. His back was toward me, and a cloak hid his head. Without turning or looking at me, he said, "Come inside. Let's talk." My knees weakened, and I gasped in fear. I started to shiver and felt sweat forming on my body, even as the rain washed it away. The hooded figure spoke again. "Come inside. We need to talk." I was scared, and an even scarier thought came to my mind. I asked, "Are you the wizard?" The hooded figure slowly turned its face toward me and moved the head covering back to expose himself. "It's me, Qualam. It's cold outside. Come in, we need to talk." I knew that the Guardians were looking for Qualam. For a moment, I thought of running to the village to tell them he was in my home, but then I decided against it. He could easily run away and disappear into the forest by the time I came back with the Guardians. He had chosen to come to me because I was alone. I decided to hear what he had to say. His past warning had helped the Seren after all. I walked to the front and entered the home. After drying myself, I sat down next to him, and we looked at each other silently. The fire crackled loudly in the fireplace. I stayed quiet, still nervous, as I waited for him to speak. "Esmeralda," he said, and stopped abruptly. "What about her?" I inquired. He thought for a moment, and then responded in a monotonous tone. "She has been talking to me. She wanted me to join her. She thought I would be mad at everyone for blaming and ignoring me after Alfred left. She told me her plans to take the vials. I did not want to hurt anyone, so I told her that I would not join her. She threatened me. That is why I've been hiding. I had to inform the village of the impending attack, and after that I ran and hid in the forest." I nodded. It made sense. Quillam leaned forward and spoke urgently. "I did not want to come to you and put you in any danger, but I have nowhere else to go. Esmeralda is looking for me. I had to come here to tell you about her next plan." The fireplace crackled, then a loud boom of thunder outside shook me. The atmosphere added to my fears. I tried to calm myself and ask, what does Esmeralda intend to do? "Firstly, I believe that she could very well be the wizard. It makes her way more dangerous than we anticipated. During my research, I have found many things about the wizard. These things help me understand her mindset. Therefore, I can predict her next move." He looked right in my eyes and said the horrible words, "She will burn down the tree circle if she cannot have all the vials. You need to convince the elders to let her take them. This is the only way to get rid of her. It's a price we have to pay to protect Serenus." "She is already so dangerous. Why would the elders do that?" "Because once she has the vials, she plans to leave the island." "And what if she takes the vials and doesn't leave the island? She will be more powerful than ever, and we will not be able to do anything." He responded casually, "If she is the wizard, which I believe she is, she doesn't care about Serenus. She wants to go to the next islands and find the lost scroll. She wants ultimate and unchallenged power. Nothing less will satisfy her. To her, the Seren and their lives are meaningless. Her ambitions are everything. If she can go, she will. But if she can't, she will burn everything and destroy everyone who stands in her way." The elders were already worried about the same thing. I agreed with Quillam's words and told him about the meeting with the elders. I skipped the part about the visit to Serre the following day, but assured him that the elders were planning to fight her and they wouldn't give up the vials. Anger twisted Quillam's face. "They are so irrational! They cannot fight her! She will destroy the tree circle! They should hand over the vials and let her leave forever. It's a small price to pay to save the island." He paused, then reinforced his words with another argument. "It is an opportunity for us to get rid of the wizard forever. I think we should take it." His argument was sound, but I understood that we couldn't trust that Esmeralda would leave after she had all the power. "The elders won't listen to me, and I have important things to do. You need to persuade the elders." Quillam's words worried me. I asked, "What are you planning to do?" Taken aback by the question, he said, "Me? Nothing. I don't plan on doing anything except finding a new hiding place. I am just saying that we should take the offer, but I don't intend to play any role. I have already put my life at risk by warning you about the attack. I have made her my enemy. Yes, I want her to leave forever so I can live in peace. But it is also in the best interest of everyone in Serenus." We sat quietly for a while. Then I asked, "Are you hungry? Would you like something to eat?" He nodded. I brought him fruit and some bread with soup. As he ate, I thought about his words. "How are you sure she will take the vials and leave?" I repeated my question. "People like her are power-hungry. The power of the beast is not enough for her. She wants the lost scroll. We have searched this island for generations, and we are quite sure that the scroll is not here. She needs to go to the lands past the dark veil. She wants a position of power in the next world, which is why she needed the beast. Now, she needs the light vials to make the journey. If we let her go, it would help her, but it also helps us. Think about it. Never having to worry about the evil wizard again. Isn't that what's best for Serenus?" "Yes, but what if she doesn't leave?" I asked in exasperation. "Then we are in big trouble. Me, more than others," he responded with a shaky voice. He had risked everything to warn us of the attack on the village. His warning triggered the elders who placed armed guardians around the trees. That was probably why Esmeralda had to leave with the beast without taking the vials. He had done everything an honest villager would do. But I knew what others thought about him. They knew him better than I did, and I couldn't ignore their suspicions about him so easily. But I didn't want Qualam to know my thoughts, so I let him feel that I felt obliged to him for his role and expressed my gratitude. I am as much a part of this island as anyone else, he said. They may think my ideas are crazy or even dangerous, but I can't allow anyone to harm Serenus. I asked him to stay for the night. He agreed. I am very grateful. I will not bother you too much and leave early in the morning. We sat quietly for some more time, listening to the rain and the night sounds, watching the fireplace. I put more wood in the fire and asked him, "What do you know about the lost scroll?" His eyes shone with excitement as he said, "The lost scroll? It is a very powerful knowledge that was lost in time." Most of the Serens seem to think it's just a story. Do you think it's real? I asked. Yes, I do. As real as you and me. More real, even. It is the only thing that is real in this world. Qualam chanted passionately. What do you mean by that? He spoke prophetically as I looked at his glowing face. I don't think this world is real. It is just a test. Real life starts after you pass this test. I think the finder of the scroll will move on to live a real life that will be everlasting. Everlasting life for an all-powerful wizard. You see, we are not just this. He pointed at himself and me. We are so much more than this body. You want the lost scroll? I asked directly. Every sensible, smart person should want the lost scroll. Finding it is the goal of this life, and once found, it will wake you to the world beyond all worlds. The more I listened to him, the less I trusted his words. I wondered what the source of this information was. How do you know this? Oh, I know. Trust me. I was born with this knowledge. You know how some Seren come to the island with magical abilities? I came with a voice that speaks in my head. His words were absurd. And what does this voice tell you? Where do we come from? I asked mockingly. You don't believe me? Didn't you hear the warning in your dream when you first woke up in the boat? Didn't you hear the voice? Yes, everyone hears that. The voice in the dream wants to wake us up, I replied. Right. He moved forward on his chair. Now he was sitting at the edge, leaning toward me, looking straight into my eyes. I hear it every day, and this voice talks to me about things you cannot imagine. Like what? It speaks of a world beyond all worlds, the one where we are gods. It calls me to itself. It is waiting for me there. He paused, running his hand through his messy beard. The voice wants me to go after the lost scroll and become an all-powerful wizard. It says it is my mission. Everyone's mission. Qualam was past his middle years and had clearly failed at his job as a thinker. I thought he was going mad, and that's why he heard these voices in his head. But I knew he wouldn't care what I thought of his words. He continued speaking passionately. You know, you and I are not different. We are the same. You question the things that other people don't question. Everyone in the village lives this life as if it is the real world. It is not. You and I know that we have come from somewhere and have to go somewhere. We have not reached our destination yet. Our future is wide open and full of amazing journeys. It is such a loss that people waste their lives. He was not hiding behind his words anymore and spoke clearly, so I asked, what if you are wrong and there is no next world? What if anyone who left Serenus died without ever reaching another land? All his excitement vanished, and he moved back in his chair. He stared at the fireplace and spoke in a monotonous voice. Then I am the biggest idiot who has ever lived, and the voices in my head are lying to me. But I have no way of knowing for sure. I only know what I know, and there's only one way to know more. His voice became confident once again, and he perked up in the chair. I will go looking for the next world to find out. Oh, and I have one more reason for you to believe me. I have never told anyone about it, but I want you to know. I didn't believe him, but at the same time, I wanted to know what he was talking about. What is it? I woke up the poem like everyone did, but I also had another page with me. My eyes opened wide as he searched his pockets and produced a badly crumpled paper. He straightened it and handed it to me, then asked me to read it. I read it out loud. Train from the pod, prove your worth, grow into a god beyond this earth. Very few are winners, and big is our need. Overcome the failures, and then proceed. There is more to try if a branch will fail, no reason to cry and nothing to wail. We'll trace back to one, and then reseed, to find the one who will succeed. I looked at Quillam in disbelief. He said, "I've never met another person who came with this poem. I have it. It must mean something. I'm supposed to play a role, though I don't know what." I was shocked at what he was saying. He had another poem that nobody else had. How could I trust it? What if he wrote it himself? He could be crazy enough to believe in his own made-up stories. One thing was clear. Quillam believed in it blindly. But there was no way for me to know if any of this was real. I conveyed my thoughts openly. I started in a boat and had a poem and a watch. Someone gave it to me for a reason. The watch is also mysterious. No one seems to know what it is about. This much I understand. And I agree that there could be much more than we know. But how you leap from this to the desire to try going into the dark is beyond me. The island is quite large, and there are mysteries in even the smallest things. How do you know that the verse, "The world is so vast," refers to other worlds? He read the verses from the poem. "Grow into a god beyond this earth. Catch the wizard, go past the fall." These are all very clear instructions. So why are you still here? I was annoyed by his beliefs and efforts to convince others, while he was afraid of trying it for himself. I guess I lacked the courage to find out if I'm right or wrong. You are right in your observation. I should have gone into the dark a long time ago. No, I don't mean you should have gone into the dark. I mean you shouldn't preach to others what you don't fully believe in yourself. And if you really believed in it, you wouldn't be here. I had made up my mind about him, and I knew that he had convinced Alfred and 4 others to go into the dark with his words, while he was still here, sitting in my warm and comfortable home, trying to convince me that it was worth going into the dark end. He confused me with his next words. "You are right. I should do what I believe in. I will go to the next world. I just need to do one thing first." He relaxed considerably, as if he had really made up his mind. "What is it that you need to do?" I asked. "I want to see Esmeralda defeated, only so I can leave with the peace of mind knowing that Serenus is safe." We sat in front of the fire for a long time, immersed in our own thoughts. I got up when I was too tired to think clearly, and asked Quillam to rest as well.